Mixed by Dirty.
Hey y'all, welcome to Table Talk 216. I'm Jai.
And I'm Ray when we bringing it to the table.
And we're going to leave it at the table. Last week, we talked about dating and friendships, some narcissism in friendships, dating all together. This week, we're going to touch on mental health.
The mind.
Yes. Different effects that mental health and mental disorders and everything have on different people. So yes, this should be interesting. You got anything to say?
Man, look, man, mental health, definitely. Mental health is something that everybody should tap into.
Let's start off with do you know the definition of mental health?
No, I don't know the definition of mental health for real.
Mental health is basically your mental. Your mental is your mind. It's basically mental health is basically your well-being, how you act, how you behave, how it affects your actions, your everyday life. That's basically what mental health is. Mental health is literally just your state of a lot of disorders and mental illnesses come from a lot of the actions that we take. Some stuff a lot of people don't know. Mental health is genetic for sure.
Definitely.
It's controlled. Sometimes it's controlled by substances, drugs, alcohol. Alcohol is a drug in a way, but a lot. We're gonna touch on a lot of that. I didn't mean to cut you off though. What were you? No,
I was saying though, just mental health. A lot of people, they're not even the first. My thing is the first. The first goal to really getting over, not because you can't really get over mental health, but the first goal to really controlling it is to be aware of it. A lot of people are not aware that they're mentally ill, really, because sometimes when you mentally ill or you got something going on and you don't know, you feel me? It's something that you got to tap in really deeper, and like you said, like it's genetically, like that. I got family members, who have mental disorders, and it's passed down generation to generation, and you just have to be able to realize that, and you have to be able to be aware of it, and then be able to control it. It's like getting counseling. I'm not gonna lie, I was one of them people that's really against the counseling, but I heard you get counseling. You feel me? And I see you just be in a real better mood, but. That's something I really want to tap into, getting counseling and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of them people who be like, a counselor can't tell me about me. How you gonna tell me about me? That's a negative mindset I have. I'm not gonna lie when it come to that. But I've been kind of pushing, lately towards trying to get counseling, trying to see what's really going on. Cause I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I be angry sometimes, and I don't be knowing why I be angry.
Yeah, I
just be upset. Like the littlest thing would just tick me off. Like, and I be trying to control it. And sometimes, I control it. Sometimes I kind of close myself off from the world, man. You know what I'm saying? But I've been through a lot of stuff in life. A lot of people don't know the reason why I do that. Especially in my relationships and friendships, even with family, I kind of close myself off from people, and I feel like I'm alone and I'm just by myself. From stuff that I've been through, and it's really be hard for me to try to explain to people because I feel like don't nobody really understand where I'm coming from or how I feel. It's just hard.
And that comes from that's actually one of the things that I wanted to touch on. Like, I didn't want to make. I don't want to make this like a black and white thing. You know what I'm saying? But mental health in the black community is huge.
It's only bad. Because it's crazy.
Because black people, like we were talking about, on our first topic, generational curses. Like a lot of us are not brought up to be able to address our, mental. It's almost like, I'm not going to talk to no therapist. I'm not crazy. I'm not this. I'm not that. And another thing that I have found, and this is really going to hit home for a lot of people. Some people, their mental health was kind of affected from church. Like church, everybody is taught when we're younger and to, pray about it, talk to God about it. And don't get me wrong, I'm a firm believer and I am 100% Christian.
Right.
I grew up in the church and everything, but when you are raised to, talk to God about it, go to pray about it. Sometimes that's a little difficult and discouraging for some people because some people need that one-on-one interaction at that very moment. And it's like, when you're praying to God, you're talking to Him. You're calling out. You're telling your problems, but you don't really have anybody to give you their point of view or to help and walk you through that. That mental state. So a lot of people kind of suffered. Kind of got like some of their mental health issues and everything. Like I said, from the church home because everybody, a lot of people, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say everybody, but some people were raised to, just pray about it. You're not going to see no therapist. You better pray about it. You better go talk to God about it, stuff like that. So that's actually, one of the things in the black community that kind of caused a lot of people to be able to miss out, not be able to, but to miss out on that therapy and that one-on-one, talk as well, because
Right.
you know they were always told to go pray about it. So the black community, like I said, suffers a lot from mental illness. It's like a generational thing. Like if I'm not, you know, if my parents are not known to go to therapy and they were not taught to go to therapy, they're not going to be able to teach me how to, you know,
Right.
reach out for therapy and go for therapy and find
No,
resources.
for sure, and a lot of it do come from, again, like you said, it's genetically, it come from that generation. A lot of us, brought, especially as black folks, man, we hard headed especially when it come to mental health. We real hard headed. You know, our families, our moms, stuff we've been through. A lot of us been through traumatic things. Even going back, and I'm not no expert, I'm not no history major or nothing, but even dating all the way back to slavery. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that genetically passes on and on and on. That mental health messes with people's head. You know, because even now, you know, I kind of still feel like that we in 2022 form of slavery. It's just we ain't getting whipped. We ain't got no chains or nothing behind us. But you know, when you go out and you getting racially profiled, you don't know if you making it home. You don't know if you making it back home at the end of the night. That kind of mess with you, and that kind of like bring me to like my next thing I wanted to talk about. Like, you know, a lot of people, they had, you know, they known me a little bit now I got a little fame from fighting these three dudes, you know, come All-Star weekend, but a lot of people kind of praise me for it, but I don't really think they really understood the message I was really trying to get out. I was in a different type of mindset, you know, from the stuff that I've been through in life. Just seeing my parents fight, just seeing, growing up in the neighborhood, seeing fights, seeing shootings, just hearing gunshots, you know, seeing people dead all the time, just all type of stuff. Like I really thought that night that I was gonna lose my life. Like I really was scared, you know, but when people don't understand too, when you scared, you got, everybody has a fight or flight, and mine's just so happened to be fight. So I was in my head, I was really thinking like, I got to get out of this. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm gonna make it home. I don't know if I'm gonna make it out of this. It's nobody. It's just me and these three dudes. I don't know what they got. I don't know what they gonna do to me. But I know I got to get out of here. So in my head, mentally, I was like, I have to survive. I have to do anything I'll survive. So it's kind of like it's gonna sound crazy, but it kind of like I like developed a superpower in a sense, because like I just like I don't know, I just got like a straight rage in my body to just win. Like I was just like, I'm not losing, I'm not winning, I'm not falling. Even with me just standing up, I was like, I'm not hitting this ground at all, because I know if I hit this ground, it's over with. You know what I'm saying? So I got to keep on my feet, I got to keep my head on the swivel. And when it was all said and done, I went home, I reflected that night, and it's even crazy, my body was shaking. I was like scared. Like I was just reflecting on the whole situation. Like, man, like I don't even know if these dudes gonna come back and look for me. I don't know what's going on. But again, this is the first time I'm really talking about that side of the aspect from it. This is the first time I'm really talking about it right here on this podcast. And a lot of people always be reaching out to me asking like, "Dang, what was going through your head, or what was going on with you?" You know what I'm saying? Like, you really whooped them three dudes. But it was like, again, like I said, y'all don't know what was going through my head. I was scared for my life. Also, I had just lost a best friend not even a whole year ago later to gun violence. So just seeing my best friend lay in the casket and his life just gone like that. And then now it's the same kind of situation where I could possibly lose my life to the same thing, gun violence. It's like, it's just all scary. And us as black people, especially black men, we don't like to talk about our problems. We always try to be hard and think we got everything under control, and think money can buy everything, and think, oh, we can mess with multiple girls. That'll make the problem go away. But no, like, I encourage all black men, get help. Go see a counselor. Go talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Let that hurt out. Let that pain out. We don't like to talk about that pain. We don't like to talk about that hurt. We try to kind of push it in the back. And I'm the first advocate to say that I push a lot of stuff in the back of my head and keep moving. I have the mindset that, oh, you know, I got to keep moving. But that's how I grew up.
But a lot of people don't know. People need to learn how to look for the signs of mental illness as well, mental illness, depression, things like that, because a lot of people, you know, might mistake that sometimes for, oh, I'm just tired, or I just don't want to be bothered, or I'm just a introvert, or I'm just, right, I just don't want to. The signs of, mental illness, one of them are, being tired, not wanting to deal with people, kind of brushing stuff off, not having a urge to do things, like not really having good hygiene. Like there are a lot of, like I said, a lot of signs and things to look for when you're going through a depression or when you're going through any type of like mental health disorder. And a lot of people don't know those signs to look for. So they kind of we kind of just brush stuff off, but that's very important too. Like if you know the type of person you are, and that goes back to when I was saying that everybody needs to know themselves, love yourself enough to learn yourself and know yourself, because if you know yourself, then you will know when I'm changing, or when this is going like this is not me, this is different, you know. And that goes with a lot of people don't take the time out to even try to figure out, you know, okay, well, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. A lot of people don't take that time out because they don't really know themselves, you know. A lot of us give so much to this person and that person and our kids and our parents and our jobs and everything. We're not able to really sit down and actually learn ourselves and know ourselves and know what to, you know, when to look for that shift in, you know, character, or when things are changing. So that's why a lot of people are not able to identify, you know, when a mental illness or when a mental disorder, which both of those are kind of like the same thing. Mental illnesses, mental disorders.
Right. A lot of people, it's crazy how you say, how you know, you were just talking about one of the signs of mental health is like tiredness and just, you know, just want to close yourself off and being to yourself. It's so, and not to keep bringing up the fight that have an all-star weekend, but it's funny how God works. It's really crazy how God works. I'm a firm believer in God, and God put you through certain stuff to make you see the better picture. I'm gonna say this right here, right now on this podcast. I wanted to kill myself like a week and a half before that. I had lost my job going into the new year. A lot of people don't know that. I had lost my job. I had a real good job. I had lost my job. It was some BS. I ain't gonna get into the details, but I had lost my job. I had a goal I was trying to meet. I had a plan I was trying to accomplish, and I felt like I had just like took 50 steps backward. I felt like I had failed. I felt like I had failed myself. And one thing about me, when I feel like I failed myself, is it really be hard for me to try to get back on my feet, because I think the world is over. And I think that because when I was younger, you know, I felt like I really didn't have nobody. Yeah, I got a lot of semblance. Yeah, I had parents here and there, but I felt like I didn't have nobody. And so mentally, in my head, I always feel like I've just got myself. So I feel like I have to get back on my feet. And it was so hard. I was looking for jobs. I was looking for this. I couldn't get nothing. I couldn't find nothing. And, you know, I was kind of struggling, trying to make ends meet and everything. So going into that fight, when that fight happened also, it's like, I kind of felt like, man, like life was over for me. I kind of felt like this was the end. I really felt like I was going to lose my life that night. And I felt like, well, you know, I already want to kill myself. I don't care about being alive anyway. But again, God had put that fight or flight in me to fight to get out of this. I really didn't reflect on it for real until a couple of weeks later. And I was applying to jobs and stuff like that. And I ended up getting a job that I got now. And I'm a counselor. And it's like, when I was going through the interview process with the lady, and I was talking to the lady, and the way she was talking to me, she was kind of talking to me like a mother. She was a black lady that was interviewing me. She was talking to me kind of like a mother, and she was asking me about my credentials, and she was saying, no, I see you did a lot of community service. I see you work with a lot of Boys and the Girls Club, and you work with St. Jude's, and you work with all these people and stuff like that. She was like, and I could see it in your eyes, you just look like you care. You just like a fighter. And I started laughing, like, but after that interview, I got on my knees and I prayed and I cried, because I had finally got the break that I was looking for. I had got more money. I had got a better job, and I was able to get back on my feet. And then I reflected, and I just thank God for just letting me even go through all of that stuff. Let me even go through the process of me just wanting to hurt myself and not wanting to be here, to me getting into that fight, to me getting this job. You know what I'm saying? And then just, you know, talking to you, just hearing you talking about, you know, how you feel better about a counselor really motivated me to want to talk to a counselor.
It is. So, everybody should.
And I wasn't gonna tell you, but I've been talking to a counselor. I'll be talking to a counselor. So I've been seeing a counselor for, I want to say, about 3 weeks now, and I've been feeling way better about myself. Like, even on my post on Instagram and stuff, I make a lot of motivational posts and stuff now, because I just been in my headspace. I just feel great about myself. You know, just letting everything out, letting all the past trauma out, letting all the things that I went through and everything. So again, like I said, man, everybody, when it comes to this mental stuff, man, is real. Even when you don't know it's real, people, when you feeling like you depressed and you down and you out, but you have everything, it's deeper than what you think it is. And don't ignore it, because a lot of people ignore it, and that's the biggest That's the biggest thing with depression. A lot of people ignore their depression, and it makes it way harder to get over. When you ignore it so much, it makes it super hard to get over.
It does.
And that pushes you to want to really hurt yourself.
People
kill
have
yourself.
to be able to identify what exactly. That's why we have to get into talking about the different types of mental disorders and mental illnesses as well, because people have to be able to identify exactly what mental illness or what mental disorder they might be going through. You have psychotic mental disorders, you have PTSD, you have anxiety, you have drug abuse and addiction disorders. A lot of people don't, understand that drug abuse and drug addiction go hand in hand with mental illness. They're definitely connected. A lot of people, don't realize that when you are using drugs or when you are drinking alcohol, you're killing more and more of your brain cells, and your brain is eventually going to stop. It's almost like a defense mechanism for the brain. I'm not going to keep producing these cells, and you're going to keep killing them off. You're going to keep drugging, you're going to keep drinking and everything. So the more and more you do these drugs, a lot of people think, oh, well, I need this drug to cope. This is not really doing anything to me. It's not really, just because you don't feel it right now does not mean that it's not going to affect you in the long run. And, eventually you're not going to just need just weed, or you're not just going to just need, just alcohol. Eventually you're going to need more and more and more. And it's going to literally kill off those brain cells. And that's when you're going to start thinking differently. You're going to start moving differently. A lot of those people that you see on drugs, that you see talking to themselves and having, psychotic episodes, it didn't just happen like that overnight. It's a buildup over years of damaging those brain cells. And that's why mental illness and drug abuse are connected.
If a lot of people didn't pay attention to the Juice WRLD incident, and God rest his soul, because I listened to a lot of his music. It was some good music, but it was a deeper message behind that I don't really think a lot of people really understood. And people so much are followers these days that they totally miss the message, like especially with these Percocets and stuff like that. If you don't need that, don't take it. A lot of people, he was mentally going through something. He really had a mental illness. He really was depressed. He really had stuff internally going on, and that's a perfect example to show you. And
a lot of people do, and that's what people miss that.
And that's a perfect example to show you that money don't buy everything. You could be rich out the ass and still be depressed and still have stuff going on and still feel like you don't want to be here. And and like I said, God rest his soul, he overdosed. And I see a lot of young dudes on the gram and just out and just off the perks though. What is it about perks that make you so happy? You know what I'm saying? I got family members that I see take perks, and I be getting on them like, bruh, put that shit down. Like, you feel me? Like, what's really going on?
Because it's a high, it's an escape. It's an escape. A lot of people go through things and, just for that moment, even if they don't become, more addicted, as addicted as this person, even if they don't become as addicted as this person, that high, is what causes people to keep doing and keep doing and keep doing. And a lot of people think that it's cool, or a lot of people think that it's cute, but you're suppressing the issue. But as soon as you come back down from that high, you're still going to be facing the same exact issue that you were facing before you took that pill, before you took that drug, before you took that drink. Like, it's just about targeting what's really going on and just tackling it head on. Because like I said, a lot of people take these drugs and stuff like that to suppress the issues when you really need to be talking to somebody. And therapy, is not for everybody. Like, I definitely want to stress, I always stress, therapy.
Right.
Some people, every therapy is not for everybody, but if you're going to be somebody who does not want to go to therapy, or feels like therapy is not for me, you at least need to be strong enough to be able to identify the issue that you have and take it head on yourself. To me, I feel like it's weak. The only time I feel like it's weak of a person is when you know that you have an issue and you just refuse to even acknowledge it, and you refuse to deal with it. Not even acknowledge, because if you know you have it, you're acknowledging it, but you just refuse to deal with it, and because you're putting your issues and you putting your illness off on somebody else, and you're just telling them just deal with it because I'm doing it. That's not fair.
You ruin a lot of relationships like that.
Yes,
and
friendships, relationships.
I have definitely ruined a lot of relationships, burnt a lot of bridges by me being in not the right mental state, but still wanting to keep messing with that girl and still wanting to keep being that person's friend, or putting people. I didn't put family members in certain situations where they could have potentially got hurt on the account of me. And again, now that I'm older, now that I'm better, now I'm able to not only identify but attack my mental health, which I try to do on a daily basis. Like I said, I've been talking to a counselor, so I've been letting everything out. I feel better, and I feel better for the people that's around me. because I feel like I'm an asset to you. I'm not here to harm you. And back
I'm not
then,
a burden on you.
I'm not a burden on you. But
Yeah.
back then, you really never know how much people care about you when you really even going through something. And the fact that you aware that you were going through something, but you don't want to attack it, or you don't want to talk about it, or just don't want to do nothing about it at all, you putting others at risk.
Yes.
Because like you said last week, a lot of it be friends that care about you more than you care about yourself. And that's the thing. A lot of people, they don't care about themselves nowadays. They don't care about what they going through. They just want to just keep going. But sometimes it's okay to just stop and just be like, let me get this out the way. Because if you don't stop, the more you keep going, the more stuff you ruin. So you ruin potential things that can be great in your life, like potential relationships. It can be passed down to your kids, because they can see, kids watch everything. And I don't think people understand that too. Kids watch everything. So your daughters or your sons watching you and how you deal with stuff, and they take that, and the first thing they say is, oh, this how my mama moved.
And that's why I don't like the saying,
right,
do as I say and not as I do. Because
right.
I've heard that a lot. That's another generational curse that,
right.
That my mom never said it. My mother actually doesn't like that either. But I've heard several people, several family members say stuff like that. I've even seen it on TV, movies,
mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Do as I say, not as I do. Realistically, like, come on. When your kids are watching you, your kids are going to do as you do. And if you do something and they see that you're doing it, but you tell them something different, the first thing they're going to say to you is that you're a hypocrite. How are you telling me, to do this? I mean, how are you telling me to do this, but you're doing this? Like, how are you telling me not to do drugs, but I'm watching you do drugs?
Right.
How are you telling me not to let a man put his hands on me, but I'm watching you get beat? You know what I'm saying? Every night. How are you telling me not to be a cheater or a woman that's not? But I'm watching you seriously. But I'm watching you do this. You cannot tell your children do as I say and not as I do, because children are going to do what they see you do. And this is the problem with that. That's one of the things in generational curses. That's one of the problems. People are being taught to, don't do as I say, do as I do. How? If I'm, what I'm saying? Like I said, if I'm watching you do drugs, but you telling me not to do drugs, which one am I going to do? Am I really going to not do it, or am I? I'm going to do it because I seen that you doing it. All kids feel like what my mother does is right. I don't care what nobody say. Like, once you get to a certain age and a certain point where right is right, wrong is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the most part, kids are the way when they are brought up in the early stages, everything that their mothers and their fathers and their parents do is right. That's God to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is everything they do. That is right. Nobody can tell me no. Well, that's not what my mother said. That's how kids look at stuff.
Right.
So we, like I said, a lot of stuff is shown to us and it's passed down to us, and we're told to do the opposite. That's right there. That's the beginning of mental illness and mental disorders and stuff right there, because you're messing with your child's brain, telling them that. Like, you telling me not to do this, but I'm watching you do this. So that's another thing too that affects the Black community strong.
It's strong. And another thing in the Black community, we famous for saying this. Oh, this is just how I am.
Yes, that is the biggest. That's narcissism.
Hey man, people in the Black community always like to say, this is just how I am. And again, now that I'm older and I'm able to really realize stuff like that, like, well, how are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people, you don't even know yourself. So this is not you.
Yeah.
This is something that you've been through, and you don't want to identify it, or you don't want to change it. So you just gonna go with whatever, because it make you feel good for the moment. People do a lot of stuff to make them feel good for the moment. Yeah. Just for the moment, whether it come to drugs, whether it come to just having sex. You know what I'm saying? Anything. It makes you feel good for the moment. Temporary pleasure. When that's over with, that is right. It's back there. You back where it's at. And again, this mental health run deep. A lot of people change their bodies because they're not mentally right. I'm not gonna even lie. I start working out because I was that was, but it could be a positive and a negative thing. Let me backtrack. It could be a positive and a negative thing, because one of the reasons people like, damn, why you work out all the time? But I work out because mentally that's my escape. And I talked to my counselor about that. Like, my counselor asked me, like, why you love working out? And I straight up told her, like, I like working out because it's like my getaway.
That's your drug. That's your escape.
It's my getaway from the world when I done had a bad day or I'm angry. I could have just had a good day, but still I get to throw some weights around and I get to sweat and I get to just work on my body. I get to work on myself. You know what I'm saying? And can't nobody tell me about me. And I could just did something I can do positive. on the flip side, a lot of females, and I ain't gonna really get into the BBL thing, but a lot of females try to change their body because of what social media told them it should look like, or what they see other people looking like, or because they're not happy in their own skin, they're not happy in their body, you know, and again, that comes from that mentally being unstable in the head to the point where you feel like that you need to do this to be accepted. It's so crazy how it all trickles down back to mental health. A lot of dudes do. A lot of dudes wear expensive jeans. You know, I got on some of Amiri shoes, but I don't wear the Amiri shoes because I want everybody to accept me. But a lot of dudes, they feel like they gotta put on that drip for somebody to accept them. They feel like they gotta do that because mentally they feel like if I don't got the drip, then I'm not respected. Nobody like me, or ain't that nigga. You feel me? Even going all the way back to dudes wanting to sell drugs. When I grew up and I seen the dudes selling drugs, and I seen my dad just in the streets, or I just seen my mom just trying to make a way for us. They ain't do it because they wanted to do it. They did it because they had to do it. They had no other choice to do it. Nowadays, selling drugs is literally a hobby, and it's sick. It's sick. A lot of dudes want to sell drugs just because. You ain't even grow up in the hood. You grew up in the suburbs where you got both your parents still in the house. You feel what I'm saying? But you want to do it just because, again, you seen a Pooh Shiesty video. I be wanting to ask people, why do you want to do that? Like, why do you want to put yourself in that position when you don't have to put yourself in that position?
We are, but you know what though? A lot of us put ourselves in positions where we should not. A lot of us, like I said, we give too much of ourselves to everyone around us, to too many different people, to so many different people, and we don't realize that, you know, the only person's mental that's affected and that's being affected in the end is ours. Like, I feel like a lot of parents, a lot of teachers, a lot of nurses especially, doctors, lawyers, to me, those people are affected. Their mental is affected in so many different ways. Like, my hat definitely goes off to, you know, people in the army. Like I said, nurses, like, just everybody really, you know, who is going out of their way to give so much to other people, you know, just to make sure they are okay. But at the same time, like, it's a lot that comes with that. At what cost? You have to ask yourself, at what cost, you know, is this worth? That's why it's really hard to balance out. You know, I went to nursing school myself. I didn't finish, but I went to nursing school, and they used to tell me a lot. That's actually one of the reasons why it started getting difficult for me, because that's one of the things that they teach you. Don't get too personal. You're not supposed to get personal with your patients. You're not supposed to. If you have a heart, if you're a human and you really have a heart, that is impossible. That's just like your job. You work with kids. They can tell you all day, I'm sure they have told you that. Don't get personal with these kids. Don't get personal with them. Don't talk to them about this. Don't, you know, keep it professional. If you a person, if you've been through shit, and if you know what these people are going through, and you know what the outcome might be, it is very hard for you to just keep it professional, because that's when, you know, that hero steps in. That's when that hero steps in, and you want to kind of prevent them from something that you might have went through, or somebody that you've seen go through. So that's why I say with nurses and everything, I have nurse friends, and they are affected tremendously, like, by their jobs, and their mental is on the line every single day. You know, people are dying. They got to try to save people. They got to, you know,
when you can't do it.
And when you can't do it, it's like, damn, I failed. I failed. When really, in reality, that has nothing to do. You're not going to be able to, you know, it ain't but so much you can do to save somebody's life, to stop them from dying. It's not but so much. So that's where that compassion and stuff comes from. You know, you got people who don't care, who's not affected. You have horrible nurses. You have people who laugh, who mistreat people, all type of stuff. But that's not what you're supposed to be doing. You know, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. So, like I said, a lot of, you know, job titles and a lot of careers and things like that involve interacting with people is affected. Your mental health is affected. Man,
I'm telling you, and man, before I got my job, now the job I got, you know, fired from, I was a correction officer. I had worked in corrections, and I really honestly feel like, and I'm not behind nurses and stuff like that. That's like the second craziest place to just work. I would probably never ever in my life be another correction officer, like, especially not in this day and age, and what's all the stuff that's going on in the world, because it's so crazy, the stuff them correction officers got to go through with some of them dudes, and even some of them dudes got to go through with the correction officers. It's both sides. I've seen both sides of that, of the spectrums when it come to that, and it's just like, you see people dying there. You know what I'm saying? You see people get mistreated. I got family members. It's just, it would be crazy. You know, I go to work. I go to work and I see my family member in there getting mistreated. I can't help him. I can't do nothing about it. I'm getting mistreated as well. And I gotta go home and sleep at night, and I gotta think about the stuff that I seen today, the stuff that I went through. Even seeing dudes as young as 19 getting 30 plus years for killing somebody, seeing them go through trials, stuff like that. It's all mentally draining, and I encourage people to take mental breaks. A lot of people don't take mental breaks.
And I encourage people to normalize telling people, no, that messes with your mental too. Mm-hmm. No, I don't have it. No, I can't do it.
Right. It's a big difference from taking a break from the world because you mentally need it and closing yourself off from the world.
Yes.
It's a big difference, and people don't understand.
Closing yourself off from the world, to me, is toxic, though.
It is.
That is toxic.
It is.
You are allowed to. That's where we was talking about boundaries last episode. Boundaries. You are allowed. It is okay for you to say, I don't want to do that today. I can't do it today, y'all. Let me just have today, and tomorrow, I'll get back with y'all. You're allowed to do that, and that's why I said we got to, as humans, we have to stop being so entitled to people's time, because that's where the mental illness and stuff comes from. You are expecting me to do this and be here for you and be there for me.
Right.
When was the last time? If you really think about it, and I hate to say this because a lot of people are going to be looking at, others like, well, damn, that is true. When is the last time, the closest person to you texted you and said, hey, how you doing today? How you feeling today mentally? People are always texting you, what you doing? Calling you.
Let me borrow something.
Let me borrow something. Let me talk to you about something. Girl, tell me why. Boy, let me tell you why. Like, nobody, a lot of people are not calling you and just saying, hey, what's going on with you today? Everything okay with you?
Or have a good day or something.
Yes, we have to normalize that. When you calling your friends, when you calling your family members, your children, your mother, your father, your whatever. Like, when you are talking to people, let's normalize checking on people.
Yes.
Checking on people and stop just assuming. That really... something that really bothers me. And when people see somebody that is strong, when you see, just because they strong don't mean they're not going through shit. That don't mean that nothing is going on. That don't mean they're not battling something. Just because somebody is strong, stop assuming. It don't matter if they're the strongest person on this planet. Are you okay mentally? If not, talk to me. What's wrong?
And the strongest ones be the ones that's going through it the most.
Absolutely.
You got to check on your strong friends. You got to check on your strong family members.
Because they don't know how to say no.
And parents, you got to check on your strong kids. Like, I hear a lot of parents always saying, oh, my baby's strong. Sometimes your baby needs you to check on them. Even kids, you got to check on your strong parents. Like, sometimes when your parents didn't raise you all their life, and you out here doing knucklehead stuff, that stuff like that messes with your parents. I hate when I see a dude out in the streets that ain't gotta be out in the streets, and I know that he has a mother that cares about him so much. And again, I don't, like I said, even when I had worked in the county, I see dudes all the time, young, out just in the streets, when they mother is putting money on their books every week. They mother calling their mother every week, putting that woman through that mental trauma, not knowing what's going on with her kid. Fathers too, the fathers that are there for their kids. You putting your dad through that. Even you putting your kids through that. Like, you got to check on those people, because you never know what they going on. I try to check on each of my friends. I text my friends every day, call them every day. I call you every day, damn near. You know what I'm saying? Even my brothers, it took me a little minute, but I've started telling my brothers every day I talk to them. I just let them know I love them. Like, I get off the phone with my brothers, first thing I say is I love you. You know what I'm saying? And they say it back. It ain't about, oh, that's gay or whatever. I'm just letting them know that, hey, I love you. Yeah. I care about this. This potentially may be the last time we talk to each other. And I don't think people even think like that. People don't think negative like that. But you got to be aware of the type of life that we live in nowadays. These people out here crazy. You never know what's going to happen. So we also need to normalize telling the ones in your life that you love them every day. Yeah. No matter if it's too much, no matter if it's too less. Tell them that you love them. Yep. Tell them that you care about them. Tell them that you glad they in their life. You glad they here for you and stuff like that, man.
And I need you to be safe. That's something that people look at.
You need me. We're all apart.
Y'all got to communicate. People got to realize communicate. A lot of mental illnesses like I said, not all. Some of it is genetic. Mm-hmm. Some of it really is genetic. It's passed on. There's nothing you're gonna be able to do about it. But a lot of mental illnesses and mental disorders can be eliminated just through communication. If you talk about the issue, if you get it out, if you get it off your chest, if you stop sleeping on it, if you stop bottling it up, a lot of things can be eliminated through communication. So we got to learn how to communicate better, address issues head on, because stress will kill you. Stress will kill you. I seen this on some research. This was a while back, actually. 1 out of every 4 people suffer from mental illness. So if it's 4 people, thank God it's only 3 of us in the room right now, so maybe we all good. No, but seriously.
It's me.
1 out of every 4 people. So if it's you and 3 other people in a room, 1 of y'all in there have a mental illness, have a mental disorder, have a mental health issue. It's not the end of the world. It's just all about identifying it, because people, there are some mental health diseases or mental health disorders that are a little bit more severe than others. You might have something as small as anxiety. Me personally, I suffer from anxiety.
Yeah.
I suffer from anxiety really bad. I have a lot. I'm probably one of the busiest people that I know, and I do not know how to tell people no. I balance a lot, and it becomes overwhelming, and it can come out, in your attitude. When you are a parent, sometimes it can get frustrating being a parent. When you run a business, it can be frustrating running a business, talking to all different types of people. That's draining too. Like when you are, when you work with different people all day long, every day, all those different energies, personalities, that's a lot on your mental. And if you are not getting a hold of it, getting it under control, it's going to take over you. So like I said, people have to realize, 1 in 4, that's not, that don't leave a lot of room for a whole lot of people to not have mental illness. Right. So people need to, realize if it's 4 of y'all sitting somewhere right now, you need to look around, because, it's not to point the finger, but somebody might be suffering from that mental illness, and it just might be you. You might be that person. So everybody, needs to be aware of the different mental illnesses and the different mental disorders, so that you can identify signs and not just brush them off and,
exactly.
and tackle them.
And also a lot of people out there, stop encouraging your friends and your significant others. Stop encouraging their mental health. A lot of people encourage people's mental health. That's cool. He's just a demon. I'm like, I hate when dudes say that. My man's a demon. Your man's got some shit going on with him. Like, and you as a friend, you need to, hey, bruh, you got something going on. You know what I'm saying? Be an angel. Fuck being a demon. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people stop encouraging that. And that's why people get in these relationships with these people, and, God rest that girl's soul who died from that man down in, I think it was New York, who killed her, and left her 6 kids without a mother and a father. Also the one man who just, recently, like last week, who took his life and also took his 5 kids' life. Stuff like that. Like, I guarantee you he has something internally, mentally going on.
And a lot of these celebrities.
A lot of these celebrities but that nobody never checked on him, or nobody never thought to ask him, or even probably when he was in relationships, his significant other probably thought to never, hey, you know what? You can get help. Or they might have knew and they just ignored it. A lot of people stop ignoring that stuff.
Yes.
Stop ignoring that. If you're able, you're just as wrong as the person that's mentally ill in my eyes. If you see somebody that's mentally ill and you call that your friend, and you call that your homie, or you call that your significant other, you're just as wrong as them if you're not telling them about themselves, or if you're not trying to encourage them to go get help, or if you're not trying to support them in a positive way. You're wrong. If that's your homie, like I said, if that's your significant other, and they got stuff going on, encourage that man, encourage that woman.
Yes.
Tell them to go get help. Help them. You know what I'm saying? And if you got stuff going on yourself, go get help together. Yes. Do it together. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Me and my friends have deep talks. Me and you had deep talks all the time. And that stuff helps me. And that stuff helps us, to let us all know, hey, you not alone. A lot of people feel like they got to do stuff on their own, and I was one of them people who felt like I'm alone, but I got 6 brothers and sisters who I can call, and they there. You know what I'm saying? I got family that I could call, and they there. And for a long time, I neglected my family and my friends that care. I neglected them because I wanted to be there by myself. And again, it's a difference between wanting help, and it's a difference between just blatantly just don't even care if you get help or not. It's a big difference, man. So, man, we gonna end this talk, man. Great talk. Thank y'all for listening.
And I want to tell everybody that you need to be strong for yourself. Be strong for your mental. Be strong for the person that you are. If you're a parent, be strong for your child. If you are, be strong for your parent. Be strong for yourself. You have to do what you need to do to be able to reach your fullest potential. You have to care about yourself. It's so many things that get in the way of us, reaching our victory. I seen a quote that said, when you're the closest to your victory is when the most obstacles get in your way. Everybody needs to keep that in mind. Like, it's going to be so much stuff that's going to be trying to stop you, that's going to be getting in your way, that's going to try to knock you down, that's going to try to defeat you. You have to keep pushing, and you have to really, really, really care about yourself. Everybody, just please keep that in mind. When you are the closest to your victory is when the most obstacles come in your way. Care about yourself, love yourself,
and let it out.
Let it out,
man. Bring it. Hey, we came up with this. Bring it to the table. Leave it at the table.
Yes.
for this exact reason. That's the true meaning of bring it to the table. Leave it at the table. We bringing the problems to the table,
and we leaving them there.
We're
not walking away.
We're not taking them with us.
We going on to the next thing. Yes. Yep. So we'll see y'all next week. We'll catch y'all next week where we're going to bring it to the table.
And leave it at the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.